Tonight, people, we are here to talk about Saban's Power Rangers, and I just don't know really what to think of this film because I love it, but I also hate it at the same time. But I am a huge fan of Power Rangers, so we're just going to talk about what the film is, how it's different from maybe some of the other movies or TV shows that have come out in the past, and just talk about how it really is to what the critics are saying a modern day Breakfast Club. So basically, guys, Power Rangers is the news story based on the worldwide phenomenon, and it pretty much is about these teenagers, these five teenagers, who have detention every weekend, and basically don't know anything about each other, and they're just sort of there because, well, they have to be, because it's detention. And so, right off the bat, none of these characters really know who these people are personally. They know of them because, well, they all go to the same school. And in a small town, which they live in, everybody knows everybody in some way, shape, or form. And so, for that reason, they all know each other, but they don't really want to get to know each other, but they can't help to get to know each other because they're all in the same room, and they're all in the same position of being in detention with each other, even though they don't want to be there. So you have these teenagers that are basically in this position that they don't want to be, but because of their actions that they chose to take part in, well, that's what got them there in the first place. So they got to deal with what they deserve for what they done or for what they did in the past. And so I hope that makes sense because what I'm trying to say is these teens do what they do because I guess of their home situations or what goes on with them in their personal lives at school. So it's either school or their home lives that are making them do whatever it is to act out and get detention. So I feel like that has a strong push to their character development of why these teens are more alike than they are different, even though they don't know each other. But I think they know more of each other than they think they do, and that's what you start to see in these characters whenever they start to meet. Whenever the main football player guy stands up for R.J. Seiler's character, who's being bullied in the start of the movie, and he just sort of stands up for him and isn't really a bystander towards it, and so that kind of starts forming a relationship, which is very important because their connection, not really connection, but their bond, I guess, which is kind of the same word, but whatever they have, and from that scene that the movie shows you, basically sort of seals all of the other people's relationships. And because they sort of see that, and they see that, hey, these people are different from all the people that are, from everybody else that is in the room with them. And so you have Jason Lee's character, who is basically helping out this teen that isn't as popular as him. So obviously everybody knows Jason because of his popularity, of him being on the football team, and obviously probably doing well in school with his academics and things like that. And sure, why not? He's good looking as well. So we'll throw that in to the mix with this character. And so really it's an odd mix. Why would this guy be helping out someone that's maybe less than him? Not necessarily saying that he is, but for what the school situation is, we're just going to go ahead and go with that. And so for that, I feel like it really does help with character development to show that these characters are above themselves. Even though they have their own sort of ego, they still know between right and wrong. They just choose whether or not to participate in what may be right or wrong. So there's aspects of that you have to consider when going in with these characters who at times can be really depressing or really funny. Most of the time it's really funny. So I do gotta say the humor is either really good or just like thrown in there just because they can, and that's what they've been doing throughout the entire movie. Like there's some things that these characters do throughout the film, especially R.J. Seiler's character from Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, and he's sort of like whenever something exciting happens, he claps, and it's really weird. He does do a lot of hand motions, so I guess that's just like what his character does, because and he gets excited about everything, and just he's the one that's really focused on this mining facility, which is where his father used to work before he died. And basically, it's just, he always goes back to that site. He's like, oh yeah, me and my father, we always used to get these supplies from this mining facility where he used to work at. And I guess that's where you figure out where the stones are because, well, they show you in the trailer when the whole thing explodes and boom, there's the stones. And so basically, it's his character bringing all these people together. And so he sort of helps out Jason's character after Jason helps him out. So it's basically them helping each other out to help out a bigger group and to help out a bigger whole of what is going on basically at that site. So guys, everything that's in the trailer, I'm basically going to, I guess, sort of explain a little bit further, but without giving too much away, obviously, because this isn't a spoiler. This isn't a spoiler review. If it was, I would have said it in parentheses next to the title of this video. But since it's not there, and it probably won't ever be, we're just going to talk about some of the other things that happened in this film that I sort of liked and disliked. So, that being said, we are going to talk about when the characters find out that they are Power Rangers, they don't really know what to think about it. They think it's, you know, crazy because, yes, they've heard of Power Rangers before, obviously, because of, you know, it's Power Rangers, and everybody has heard of Power Rangers, whether it's in the normal world or a fictionality world where Power Rangers exist. I don't know if fictionality is a real word, I just said it because it sounded professional. So there you go. That's me speaking when I don't have a script in front of me, which I never have a script in front of me, but I'm just speaking to kind of make the video go along. That went way far off topic than I needed to, but basically they find out that they are Power Rangers and they all sort of form this bond. And in order for that bond to work, that's how they morph. And in order for them to morph, they have to have this bond that they have, but they also don't have. So they start trying to get to know each other a little bit more than just knowing of them. And that's when the story progresses and also fails at the same time. And this is when you start to love more characters than others. And there are characters you will like more than others, because some of the characters just are kind of dumb and don't really know what to do in situations, and they're just kind of thrown in there to be there because they have to, or else the storyline would be 30 minutes to an hour short. So that's sort of what you're going to get. I don't know. It's either you're going to like this movie or you're going to hate this movie. It's directed by Dean, I'm going to say his last name wrong, Dean Israelite. Israelte. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I know I'm not for a fact, but he's the director of Project Almanac, which came out in 2015, I believe. Excuse me, guys. I own it on Blu-ray in the back over there. It's one of my favorite guilty pleasure movies, and so seeing him direct this was really cool. I actually didn't know that up until the point I was in the movie theater scrolling through IMDb and finding that on my phone. So I was very excited for him to be directing this, so it made me a little more psyched. I will say the directing is not bad at all. It's not too shaky. It's not just things happening everywhere all the time, even though there are some big cinematic CGI moments. It's just that's not 24/7. It's not throughout the entire movie, mostly towards the end, whenever they start preparing to fight Elizabeth Banks' character. I think that's the main woman in this. And so basically at the beginning of the movie, though, you have the introduction of Bryan Cranston's character, his team of the old Power Rangers, and you see how that affects the new group of Power Rangers for the new generation, and that really ties in with the characters and how important things are later on when some things happen, and you sort of see why Bryan Cranston's character is there, even though he may not want to be, or he's trying to get out of something that he can't necessarily get out of, unless you have some certain things. And man, this gets complicated without spoiling anything, so I hope this is making sense to you guys. But what I'm trying to say is this is not a terrible movie. Yes, there's a lot going on. Yes, there's a lot of cheesy moments, but there is also some good acting, some good soundtrack in it, some weird soundtrack, but good, and there's also just a lot of fun to go around with this film. So I think you should go in not taking it seriously. I am a huge fan of Power Rangers, so even though I loved this film, I know it's a bad movie. So I've seen worse. I do like it. I can see myself watching it again. I love the cast, and I don't really know what to say. It's a so-so movie. Either you'll like it or you'll hate it, which is what I've said before in some of the other clips. So with that in mind, guys, I am going to give this movie a good. It's pretty much the halfway point between our rating system, and I think I could be satisfied with that because I did enjoy this movie. I liked it a lot. it's just, I understand it has its faults and it has its flaws, and I understand that there are some really cool things, though, about this movie, including the original soundtrack from the earlier movies, and as well as a really cool cameo, actually kind of two really cool cameos, although you don't really see the second one, you just sort of hear about it, and they're sort of hinting towards a sequel, I believe, because yes, there is a mid-credit scene, so do stay for the mid-credits because that is important. Obviously, I didn't know about who the character was that they said at the time, because even though I am a fan of Power Rangers, I don't know everything about Power Rangers, so definitely be looking out for that. Look it up if you're confused, but it is important to the Power Rangers franchise and what the Power Rangers really are. So thank you guys for watching. I know this is a longer review than what I normally do, it's just I really enjoy Power Rangers, and I want people to understand that this is a misunderstood movie that was, I think, advertised wrong and more of a comedy than a drama, because it's both, even though it is more comedy, but I can see how some people would get turned off by that. So just go in with an open mind, guys. Don't think of it as a one-direction movie, because it's not. It's more than that, and I think it has some potential with the characters and what they go through, and it helps you understand what they're going through and why maybe you should care about them a little bit more than what the trailer gives. So thank you guys for watching. My name is Nick. This is The Tempest Productions. Check out my other reviews for The Belko Experiment and I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, which is Netflix's newest movie, and also The Young Offenders. Those are just some of my most recent movies that are out now for you guys, so please be sure to check those out. Like, comment, subscribe. My name is Nick. This is The Tempest Productions. I've said that like 5 times now, but I will see you guys in the next video.